Doc, I was curious how this building process is similar to your other stops in the NBA and how it differs.
Yeah, I don't even know the answer. I think they're all just different. It's nice having talent to start. I've had that in a couple of places, and I haven't had it in a couple of places. So starting on paper, when you have Joel and Ben and Tobias and Seth and Danny Green and Shake Milton and Furkan, it definitely makes the building process a little bit better. It's not more about what's here; it's how we use what's here, how everybody buys into the way we need to play to win. And so, to me, that's what's the key is when that takes hold, and we'll see when that happens.
One other thing, I noticed that you played for seven different guys in the NBA, including interims. I was wondering, there was some Pat Riley, there was a lot of Fratello, there was even a little Larry Brown in there. I was curious about who your greatest influence might have been.
Well, I was lucky, having Mike Fratello, Larry Brown, and Pat Riley. I would say if you're a player that played for those three in general, you end up being a pretty lucky guy. Yeah, really. Bob Hill doesn't get enough credit for what he was offensively. He was unbelievable. So I've been lucky in that regard. I would say Pat Riley clearly is the guy that I credit with the only reason I'm coaching. I had no interest in coaching. I thought coaches were crazy. And then I realized now that I was right.
Thank
Next
you, Doc.
up,
Appreciate it.
thanks, Gordy. Next up, Mark Narducci.
Doc, is there anything about Ben that since you've been coaching him that you maybe didn't realize that he had or has surprised you with?
It's a good, Mark. I would say I knew he had speed, but I didn't know he had the afterburners. I guess when he puts his speed on, it's unbelievable how fast he is. I guess the biggest surprise is I knew he was a good on-ball defender. I didn't know he had the instincts off-ball that he has, and that's a very good surprise.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, Jamie Pody.
Doc, just how crazy are you? No, that's not my question.
You know the answer.
How, how ready do you guys feel? I mean, here you are taking over a new team. You guys only got the two preseason games.
Yeah.
How ready do you feel for this thing to get started?
I think that's two different questions. I can't wait for it to get started. So I think everyone is anxious as far as that goes. How ready do I feel we are? That one I don't know. I really don't. This has been such a short camp, two preseason games. We are what we are right now, and we have to just accept that and be good enough to win the way we are right now.
Next up, Rich Hoffman.
Hey Doc, Joel obviously only played one game, but he did get up, I think, four threes in that one half that he did play. That's always been a hot topic around here, in part because he sometimes says he doesn't like shooting threes and sometimes does. I guess, like, just with such a great post player, what do you think is the level of balance he should strike there?
I don't really care. I'll watch. I'll let you guys talk about shot selection and all that kind of stuff. I think Joel is a talented player. I really do. He clearly will have the ball in the post a lot, but he also will have the ball behind the three. He'll have the ball at the elbows, and I've never gotten into shot selection like people do. My offenses have always been really good, and you ask my players, you rarely hear them tell you, "Man, he's yelling at me about shot selection." My job is to teach guys their shots. And once they learn their shots, each individual guy, then we play through that. But I've always allowed everybody else that noise, been taking threes, twos. I've always thought it was the final score that mattered, not how we got to the final score. We score 110 points or 120, and Joel takes 19 threes. We scored 120. You know what I mean? I've never been one of those guys that got into shots. My job is to teach them what's a good shot and then let them play and give them the freedom to do that.
Do you see any benefits, though, of having him on the perimeter?
I think there's big benefits having him all over the floor. You know, he's a skilled player. Either we can make the choice. Let's choke him. Let's say you can only shoot post play shots. I know that would hurt the offense if that's all he did. I can guarantee you that. When you have the ability, like he does, to mix up and change and do different things, I've been around offensive players long enough to know you allow him to be offensive, and that's important.
Next up, Paul Hudrick.
Hey, Doc. You talked a lot about wanting Ben to get downhill, and that's how you kind of see him offensively, getting into the basket, scoring, facilitating. Seemed to do that well against the Pacers. In the past, it seems like maybe when Joel is on the court, he's not as, I don't want to say willing, but maybe he doesn't do it as much. Maybe he isn't as aggressive looking to score. Is that something that you think that he needs to just find a balance of, or do you think it maybe he sees Joel not on the floor and he just wants to take on more of a scoring role?
Well, I'm sure that's part that he probably thinks that, that's like human nature. If one of your star guys are out, the other guy thinks he has to do more, and he probably does do more. That's probably natural. But I want him going downhill no matter who's on the floor and every night. There's a lot of times Joel gets the rebound, outlets it to Ben. Ben shouldn't wait. If Ben can get downhill, we want him going downhill. And going downhill doesn't necessarily mean shoot the ball. It means create a play. I thought the one thing that stood out in the Indiana game is how many times we got the ball in the paint and the shot was a three. And that's what we mean. The typical paint points, no one would call that a paint point, but to us it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's take two more, starting with Kai Carlin.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to get I'm just curious about your thoughts on how Tobias looked these first two preseason games in terms of his decision making.
We just got to get him to make quicker decisions. There's times, I thought in the second half of Indiana game it was a lot better. He hesitates sometimes. He wants to get in, what we call his bag of tricks. But I love Tobias going downhill, making quick decisions, quick shots, quick first step down the hill. That's what we got him in LA, and we'll get him back there. But you can tell he's been doing something different, and we have to get him going back with being a quick decision, Tobias.
And then what's that process like, though? Because, as you said, he was so used to doing something else, now you got to kind of get him back to doing this. What's that process kind of like?
It's the process is easy, but when it takes is the other question. The process is daily, and you just keep doing it. I don't have an answer of how long it takes for him to take over with any player. I think everybody's on a different timeline.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Last one, Jackson Frank. Go ahead, Jackson.
Hey, Doc. In these first two preseason games, Tyrese played on the ball a lot. I'm curious if you've seen him play off the ball more in practice and how he's looked in that regard.
He's really been on the ball a lot, but when you put him in like with the second unit, let's say, and you have Shake and Furkan, he tends to be both because any three of those guys can bring the ball up. Any one of those guys can bring the ball up. So that's when he's pretty good off the ball as well. Great cutter, which is unusual for a young guy.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.